Hello everyone and welcome to Fifth North. Today's a good day. Today I get to take out my Vitpilen 401 for my very first ride, so let's go have some fun. Well, that was close. I almost got hit by some birds. That would have been interesting footage. Anyway, so welcome everybody to the very first ride on my Husqvarna Vitpilen 401. For those of you who didn't see the last video, I recently went to Denver and picked up this bike from my buddy Ty. The bike is a 2019 Husqvarna Vitpilen 401. When I picked it up, it only had 700 miles on it, so in my opinion, it's pretty much brand new. I mean, he basically broke it in for me, got the first service done, and that was it. So in my opinion, this bike is basically brand new. I mean, I get it's 3 years old, but with such limited use, and also too, my buddy Ty takes care of his stuff really well, so this bike is, I mean, is mint. I've got literally no complaints. It's in great shape. Everything about it is pretty much perfect. So definitely excited about having it, definitely excited about owning it, and really excited about being back on the bike. For those of you who know the backstory, I haven't ridden in a good, man, it's been like 12 to 13 years since I've last owned a bike. I mean, I've ridden here and there in between then, you know. You hop on a friend's bike here and there, you do a couple of short, you know, rides here and there, but as far as actually owning a bike and as far as actually, you know, being able to go whenever I want to go on a bike ride, it's been about, I think, 12 or 13 years, so it feels really good to be back out. I'm definitely a little bit rusty, so, you know, don't laugh too hard if I miss a shift or two. Or if my clutch control is just bad, because I'll tell you what, so far it is. But yeah, really excited to get back into it, shake off the old rust, and see how this bike does. So, just doing a little cruise here. Going to do about a, I don't know, about a 30-45 minute ride. Obviously, I won't make you guys sit through the whole thing. We'll speed it up a little bit. But long story short, a chance to see what the bike's all about, see what I think about it, and kind of compare it to what I've owned before. So, my previous bike was my starter bike, and that was a 2007 Yamaha Virago 250, which in my opinion was a great bike. Great for learning, great for you know, not making too big of mistakes, because you didn't have too much power to make mistakes with, right? And so it was a great bike for learning, got me very comfortable on a motorcycle, and I really enjoyed the ride. But after 6 months to a year, like after one full riding season, I can tell you that it was boring. I mean, it was straight up boring, because the bike had no power. And you know, I'm not a huge fan of riding on freeways, but you know, there are some roads like this one, for example, that have a speed limit of, you know, 55, and that bike had, I think, like 22, 23 horsepower. And once you get past like 45, it just didn't have it. I mean, you know, it claimed a top speed of, I think, 80 or something like that, but it really wasn't the case. Once you got past 45, that bike was useless. I mean, it just had no guts. And so, you know, it would kind of worry you, because you'd be going at, you know, top speed, and then all of a sudden you have to accelerate to pass somebody or get out of a situation, and you had nothing left, right? So A, it got boring, and then B, to me, it kind of got dangerous, not being able to do what I needed to do. So that was a 250. This bike is a 401, but technically it's a 373. And it's got about, I think, 45 horsepower and 28 foot-pounds of torque. I'll put the specs on the screen once I look up the exact specs. I don't know them off the top of my head yet. But long story short, it's not double in cc's, but it's definitely double in power. So it's got double the power of my first bike, and so I'm curious to see, you know, what that feels like, and if I'm gonna feel like that's enough, or if I'm gonna feel like, you know, it's a little bit better than the starter bike, but it's still not enough, you know. So we're gonna find that out today, and I'll tell you, so far, and again, this is, you know, take this review with a grain of salt. It is my first ride back in over a decade, but so far it feels like it's more than enough. I mean, I'm doing a 58 right now, and I got plenty of gears left, and I got plenty of throttle left. I'm barely touching the throttle, you know what I mean? So from what I can feel at this very moment, I think this bike's got more than enough left in the tank if I need to make it go at this very moment. Man, the sun is bright today. I might need to look into a shaded shield because this might get interesting. But here we go, we got some shade coming up. Anyway, so yeah, so far it feels like it's got more than enough power. Like power is not going to be an issue, but again, that might be my opinion right now. We'll see what my opinion is at the end of the ride. And then also we'll revisit that question in probably 6 months or so, once I've really shaken off all the rust and gotten back to, you know, good riding form. I might then realize, hey, now that I've shaken off the rust, I might want to do something a little bit more powerful. You know, I don't know. We'll find that out. We'll find that out in the near future. Now, in the meantime, let's get around this curve and make sure I do it right. So yeah, this road's kind of fun. There's a bunch of little twisties that you get back to back to back, and I think it'll be a little bit more fun once I get more comfortable getting sideways, and not sideways like drifting, but sideways like leaning. For those of you that are new to bikes, because right now my lean angles are pretty non-existent, if I'm being honest, and I'm definitely kind of twitchy and kind of squirrely, right? But again, after 12-13 years, I think that's to be expected. Also, too, apologies if anything technical wise isn't the best right now as far as like camera angles or lighting or audio. I'm a stickler for that kind of stuff, as I'm sure you guys know based off my other videos. But this is actually my first ever, and I literally mean ever, moto vlog. You know, I've done like in-car video recording before, but never anything on a bike, so bear with me as I figure out the little tips and tricks and get everything perfect. One thing I am noticing with this bike is the handlebar vibrations are a lot more pronounced than they were on my last bike. Now, granted, my last bike was a V-twin, so it might be a little bit smoother overall than this single cylinder setup. So that's a possibility. That, or it could be the fact that I've got aftermarket end mirrors that are potentially you know, potentially removing some of the weight that's normally on the end of the handlebars that keep it from vibrating. That's a possibility too. Or it could just be that I haven't ridden in so long that I forgot what handlebars are supposed to feel like. So again, a little vibration, nothing like insanely bad, just a little something to get used to, you know. So the brakes on this thing are really good. They're Bybri brakes, which is I guess like a sub brand of Brembo. And so far, I mean, I haven't had to do any like hardcore braking or anything, but so far, I mean, they've done more than enough bite, more than enough control. Definitely a lot of braking bite and a lot of braking power, but not to the point where like you touch it and you like fly off the bike, but a good healthy amount. And it feels very progressive and linear, and so does the power too, honestly. Like the power seems very progressive and linear. I will say though that somewhere in that 6,000 to about 8,500 range RPM wise, there's a lot of power in that, and obviously relative, right, 44 horsepower, but a lot of the percent of power, if you will, is in that rev range, and you can definitely feel it go when you put the throttle down in that area. So again, so far this bike's got more than enough power. I'm actually surprised. I thought I was gonna think that it wasn't, you know, enough. You know, I'm not a fan of really big, heavy bikes. Like when I feel like I have to wrestle the bike to go and maneuver, to me it's like it's too much work, right? I'm out here to relax and have fun, not to work out per se, right? So this bike is in the mid 300s weight wise, and again, I'll put the spec on screen, but to me that's a really good really good amount of weight. I mean, I feel like it's super agile, super light. I have no trouble controlling it. I have no trouble, you know, making it lean left or right, give it a little, you know, wiggle with the hips, and it goes where I want it to go, type of thing. So definitely enjoying the weight of the bike and the agility. I mean, I wish I wasn't so twitchy with the inputs. I'm still getting used to that, but outside of me being the problem, the bike, I mean, the bike is just great so far. I've got no complaints. It feels, again, very agile, very light on its feet, or I guess on its tires. I feel like I have very easy control when it comes to just leaning and letting it go which way I want it to go. The suspension and tire setup seems really good. I'm not sure if Ty tweaked any settings when he got it, but to me it feels like it's been set up for my size and weight. Like, it feels comfortable. So back to the question of, you know, does it have enough power? Yeah, I definitely think it does. Again, I'll revisit that in 6 months to a year, but at this very moment I feel like it's got more than enough power. I feel like it, again, has good brakes, good acceleration, good handling, and I would argue that it's a very linear bike. So what I mean by that is it's more powerful and more capable than my 250 was, but I would argue that this bike would be just as good for a person learning. I would argue that it would not be a hard bike to learn on. I don't think it's too much bike for somebody who's new to riding. You know what I mean? I think some bikes you look into and you're like, yeah, it's too much power, or that's too aggressive of a position, or too aggressive of a throttle type of thing, and I don't think this bike is that. I think this bike would be a great place to learn, and I would maybe even argue a better place to learn than a 250, because I don't think you would get bored of it as fast, and therefore you would get more return on your investment because you'd want to ride the bike longer. You know what I mean? That's kind of my 2 cents based off of what I've seen so far. Not complaining whatsoever. Honestly, so far I've got no complaints. Like, the bike doesn't feel hot at all. It's probably like 85 degrees, maybe even more by now, and the bike doesn't feel hot. It feels very comfortable. Some bikes I've ridden, you could definitely tell it's cooking when it gets hotter out, and so far I'm not feeling any issues with this bike. Again, brakes are really good, handling's really good, and we're coming up on the S's again, so let's go enjoy that for a minute. Hey, my first Moto Wave. Sick. I'm loving this bike. I mean, the power band is just so smooth. Man, I'm just so pumped to be back on a bike. Oh, you guys have no idea. Like, so pumped. It's been way too long. Man, I was gonna wrap it up here, but I think I'm just gonna go ride for a little bit longer. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. My first time out on my Husqvarna Vitpilen 401. Again, I love the bike so far, no complaints. I'll dive deeper into detail with this bike as I go along. We'll have plenty more videos about it. But thank you for watching. Hit the like button for me if you haven't already. It definitely helps out my channel. And if you're not already a subscriber, hit that subscribe button for me. It goes a long way, you guys. If you're watching YouTube channels, right, hit the subscribe button for us. Helps our channel out quite a bit. So, again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. This is typically the part where I throw up the peace sign, but I'm on a bike, so peace.